That was actually really fucking good. Hey, what's up, bookworms and Bat fans? Mike back today to talk a little, not really off the books, but not exactly books, comic books maybe. I got a lot of requests, guys, to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut, if you will, that released on HBO Max recently. Now, I know this isn't traditionally the type of thing that I do on this channel, but I am a man of the people. I put it up for a vote, and it was about 2-1. A lot of people didn't want to hear it, but a lot more wanted to hear it. So, again, you don't want to hear it, I guess don't click. That's fine. Here's my thing is that I am a humongous DC fan. But before you go saying, oh, this guy's just a fanboy, all he's going to do is talk about how great it is because he loves DC Comics. Now, look, I've been very, very critical on this interpretation of the characters with this version, this universe that they've made, the DC Extended Universe, Cinematic Universe, whatever you want to call it. It's been very hit or miss for me. There's some that I've really liked, and there's been most that I really have not. I haven't really cared for what they've tried to do with this. They aren't the characters that I grew up reading. So, I don't want you thinking that I'm just going to praise, or just heap praise all over this because of that. That's definitely not it. I want to say that first off, I was never a believer that this cut actually existed. I was one of those that was like, dude, just let it go. Even if they do make this, it's not going to be canon. What do you care? Why are you fighting for it? But you know what? They were right. I was wrong. Okay, it did exist, and then I was like, you know what? I expect this to just be a much longer version of that 2017 movie that disappointed all of us. And I am here to eat crow because, guys, I think that this movie was maybe 10%. 10% of what we saw in 2017 is actually in this movie, untouched. I think that there's so much more. Obviously, we talk about this movie is 4 hours and 2 minutes. That there's going to be some additions and a few things that are much, much different. Everything. I mean, atmosphere, everything does not feel the same as that movie at all. And unlike everybody else, I'm not going to pile on Joss Whedon. I know that he had his marching orders from the studio. We've been over this time and time again with me that I think Warner Brothers has no idea what the people want. Just look at Birds of Prey. They clearly don't know what the comic book fans want. So, I can see how that became the train wreck that it did. What I can't understand is now seeing this version, why they thought some of the decisions that they made were better than this, because they weren't. I can't think of one single thing in that movie that I liked better than this one. Not a single thing. And that's incredible. So I'm going to kind of do like I always do with my book reviews and kind of break it down by, what makes it good or bad, why you should watch it, and kind of like my final thoughts. Let's start with the good here. I think that the villains are much more focused this go around. In the 2017 movie, this could be non-spoiler, by the way, guys. This is non-spoiler. Maybe spoilers for the 2017 one if you haven't seen that yet. I thought that the villains in that was just Steppenwolf, and it was just like so forgettable. It wasn't just because the CGI was unfinished, and it was terrible. Don't get me wrong, but the whole time when we watched that as a family, and disappointed all of us, especially my kids, my wife was like, I'm not even sure I understand what a mother box is. And I was like, well, I have that knowledge in my brain already from being a big DC Comics reader. Maybe I already knew these things. But I was like, yeah, I guess I can see how that was very confusing to audiences. About this movie is divided into 6 parts, as they put it. And after part 2, my wife was like, I understand what mother boxes are this time. So it's already an improvement over that. But again, the villains are not just more focused this go around. The big bad is actually revealed in this movie, and he is awesome. It is done just enough to tease for what would have been coming down the road. It's so good, guys, the way that they do it. And this is a character I never thought that I would see on the big screen, so it was just so cool to see that. And some of his counterparts that are with him where he is at. It's really, really good, guys. And even Steppenwolf in this is really good. He's intimidating. His voice sounds better. All of his dialogue is better. He looks better. He's actually intimidating. I actually understand what his motivations are now. It's just better in every single way. But I gotta say, the biggest thing for me in this one, all of the members of the League, they have a reason to be there. Last time it felt like, okay, other than they have to get all these characters together for this movie, I don't even know why you're here. I mean, what are you doing here? Like, they made up that plot with the Flash, like going to rescue some Russian family in the last movie that made like no sense. Like, really, that's what we have for the Flash to do in this movie. Cyborg was like an afterthought in that 2017 movie, and I'm going to say it up front, guys. Cyborg is the heart of this movie. He really is. He gets all of his backstory. All the characters that didn't have a solo movie, they get all of their backstory in this, and it's good. It's really good. You get more stuff set up with the Flash, what was going to be setting up his solo movie. All the people that complained about, oh, they were doing this too fast, this set up those solo movies where they were actually would have been something that I wanted to see after this. I wanted to see the solo Flash movie. I want to see the solo Cyborg movie. Hell, make it a Flash Cyborg movie. I've been fine with that. They did a comic run together. So much good setup in this. Even Aquaman stuff really set up really, really well before the Aquaman, because in this timeline takes place before the Aquaman movie. It just so many good things. And again, what they did for Cyborg in this, yeah, the CGI a couple times can still be on Cyborg, like it can kind of take me out of it, but it's leaps and bounds over what it was in that last one. But it's never to the point to where I'm just like, well, that just looks so unbelievable, I can't get behind it. It's fine. It was fine, but all the cringy jokes, guys, all the jokes are gone. Besides the, what's your superpower again? I'm rich. That's the only one. The you talk to fish and things like that. All those are gone. Dress like a bat, I can dig it. All of it's gone. It's just a serious comic book movie now. And I'll get into it when I get to the bad. If you want all those goofy jokes, you saw why they don't work in this universe with that 2017 version. So it's okay to let the MCU be its own thing and let the DC universe be its own thing. It's okay, guys. It's quite okay to enjoy two different types of movies. But man, the visuals are just breathtaking. And that's nothing new with a Zack Snyder movie. His movies are usually visually stunning. I always say there's just about any clip, you can pause it and blow it up and make it like a screensaver or wallpaper on your wall, because it's just absolutely gorgeous. The cinematography is top notch. Everything just looks super epic in like that Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings kind of way. Just so cool. It's like the movie is like just hours of splash pages from comic books. It's so stunning. I can't get over how he gets that look. It's just incredible. No matter how you feel about Zack Snyder films, you got to say his visuals definitely is not one of those problems. But man, I feel like the pacing is really, really good in this. I mentioned the 6 parts, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, I'm just 4 hours. That's just too much. Well, look, guys, Endgame was 3 hours, and it was fine. And you say, oh, well, that was earned. Okay, again, I'm not trying to do an apples and oranges comparisons between the Avengers and the Justice League, all right? I'm not really trying to do that here. I'm just saying, it's not like we haven't had long movies before. And again, it's broken into 6 parts. This was originally going to be released as a miniseries, and HBO Max just decided to cut it together as one movie. I have kids. We weren't ever going to be watching 4 hours uninterrupted, so we broke it into 2 nights. And it worked fine, but each one of those parts, you could stop it there and take a break if you just... I grew up going to see Lord of the Rings at midnight showings, so long movies aren't a problem for me. That's fine. And the pacing is so good, I never felt tired. I was never looking at my watch. I was never like, oh my God, how much longer? I was actually like the point where I was like, oh God, I hope that's all that's left. Oh man, that sucks, because I'm really, really enjoying this. The pacing is quick, and I love the 6 parts. It felt like a 6-issue, crossover run that the Justice League would do. It really did. It really felt like it was paying homage to, the stuff that I criticized Zack Snyder about with what he was doing with the DC. I was like, did he actually read any of these comics? Yes, in this one, you can see now he knew where he was going, and it's actually kind of heartbreaking now to think about what has happened. But this is just an unapologetic comic book story. I mean, there's famous arcs incorporated. There's one big one from the Big Bad that I was like, I can't believe that they're actually doing this. This is amazing. So many things. If you're a big DC guy, you're going to find so many Easter eggs that you've wanted to see brought to the big screen, and they're done so well and so satisfying. Sorta, because we'll get to that in a second. I think one of the biggest things here is in the 2017 version, I didn't really see a point for these, when Wonder Woman was like, oh, we're going to work together, we're just together and stuff. And it's like, you didn't really get the sense that these people cared to be together, to work together. They had any reason to believe in what they were doing. This, you really feel that team unity. And it's amazing. It actually works. I can't believe how well it works. And when it has that one scene, where you've got them all in that comic book pose, it's so good. It's done so well, and it was really like a fist pump moment. But the biggest fix, I think, for all of this was putting back in Junkie XL's and Hans Zimmer soundtrack. It fixed so many things that ridiculous. Look, I like Danny Elfman. He did the original Batman score. What's not to like? It didn't fit with that. They tried to get the Flash like some goofy theme in that. They wanted to bring back Danny Elfman's Batman theme. It didn't work with this version. Bringing back Batman's theme, bringing back Wonder Woman's awesome theme, bringing back Superman's incredible theme from Man of Steel made it feel so much more earned. And the themes are really, really good in this. And I think if you're a soundtrack lover, you're going to like what you hear. Now, there are a couple of bad things here, and this is going to be subjective to you. I don't find these necessarily bad. Now, look, if you've already made up your mind that you hate this version of the DC Universe, this isn't going to be the movie that changes your mind, okay? I mean, you're not going to enjoy it. It's clearly not for you. If you haven't liked any of the movies yet, this isn't going to be the one where you're like, oh, you know what? They got me now. It's not going to change your mind at all. If you are not a fan of Zack Snyder's filmmaking, you're not going to like this movie. This is a Zack Snyder movie. This might be the most Zack Snyder movie I've ever seen. But look, I like a lot of his movies. I like Man of Steel. I didn't care for Batman v Superman. I liked Man of Steel a lot. Don't care what people have a problem with that. I think it's the best Superman movie ever made. I love the director's cut of Watchmen. I think is a freaking masterpiece. I love that comic, and I think that he did it absolutely wonderful. I think that Dawn of the Dead, his remake, is one of the best zombie movies ever made. I love 300. So, I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of the guy's films for the most part. There are some big misses in there. Hey, Sucker Punch. But, yeah, if you don't like Zack Snyder's filmmaking, you're not going to like this. Don't waste your time. It's not going to happen for you. So if you're not a fan of this universe and you're not a fan of Zack Snyder, this isn't going to sell you. Save your 4 hours. I think that a criticism that a lot of people will have, and this will sound like a kind of a backhanded criticism, is when I say it's not formulaic. And what I mean by that is it's not a popcorn flick. This is rated R. This is not something you can show your kids. And really the rated R, what it is about is just there is a decapitation in this, and there is about 5 or 6 F-bombs. That's the only thing I can say, yeah, it is really R-rated. I think Batman v Superman was more violent than this, where Batman was cracking skulls in the warehouse. I wouldn't show this to my kids because they'd probably be bored. It's not a Marvel movie, guys. I don't know what to tell you. It really is a outside of the box kind of thinking way of making a superhero film, and there's nothing else like this. And for some people, I mean, that's nice. I feel like a lot of these movies have become formulaic and predictable. I think that a lot of the MCU movies, I love them, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them I was like, yeah, these are about as formulaic as a James Bond movie. I know what's going to happen. I know exactly when to step out of the theater to use the restroom because I know what's going to happen. I know when it's going to happen. That's how I felt about a lot of those movies, and I enjoyed them just as much as you did. And I guess lastly, I'd say there are some castings still that I'm not nuts about, but I don't think that they take away from this movie. That's just, I mean, these castings we already knew about. I was never sold on Ezra Miller as Barry Allen. It doesn't feel right. I love Jason Momoa. I don't necessarily know if he's Aquaman, but he's fine for the role, and I think he's good in this movie. I think they're all good in this movie. I mean, even Ezra Miller. I really think that his scenes with, I think if you've watched the trailer, you know that Iris West is in this movie, and that scene is really, really good. And it's just so many things I think that they improved upon that unless you just really have already decided that you don't like this universe, I think you're going to have a good time. But for the biggest thing for me, and this is just a personal thing, there is a certain member of the original founding member of the Justice League that still is not in this movie, and it drives me crazy. And it's so frustrating when you hear the behind-the-scenes stuff about how Zack Snyder did want to put that character in this movie, and Warner Brothers still said no. So, don't know what to do with you guys. Now, let's get into why I think that you guys should watch it. Now, like I said before, I don't think that this is a movie unless you are a big-time DC fan, or if you, like me, and you've been waiting for this DC universe to make a movie like this. I wouldn't say go out and get an HBO Max subscription just to watch it. If you have HBO Max, yes, watch it, for sure. I think it's definitely worth your time. I think what made this so cool is we are in a time now where there's not very many movies getting released, due to the virus that shall not be named. So this actually felt like an event. It really did feel like a big thing because of that. This felt like the first really big release that we've had in a while. And if on social media and just the internet as a whole, and just about everywhere you talk to, it seemed like everyone was either going to watch this or they had an opinion about it one way or the other. So I think that really, really helped. But I think if you just want to see a culmination of what started with Man of Steel, you're going to get it here in a satisfying manner that you didn't get it with that 2017 movie. I think that there's so many individual arcs and satisfying conclusions to some individual character things that they've been doing through all those. I mean, if you want to call it a trilogy, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League, you could probably do that. I really think that you'd be fine. If you just wanted to watch those movies, I'd still throw a Wonder Woman and Aquaman in there if you wanted to do that. But again, it's up to you, however you want to do it. But it's just, like I said, it's an outside-the-box modern superhero movie. You're not going to find another movie like this at all. And I'm completely floored by, there's a scene at the very end there with Jared Leto playing the Joker that you saw in the trailer. That's not a spoiler. He's better in that 3 minutes than he was in all of Suicide Squad. And it got me, let's get to my final thoughts here because it kind of ties in with that. It's bittersweet because I want to see, this left me wanting to see more of this universe. This makes me want to see Justice League 2. Whereas with the Justice League 2017, I was like, this is done. I'm done. I mean, I had to be convinced to see Aquaman. That's how done I was with it. So I actually want to see this, but I know Warner Brothers isn't going to give it to us. I mean, they've already come out and said, no, we're not doing that. You know, because when does Warner Brothers give the people what they want? They think we want Birds of Prey. They think we want J.J. Abrams to do a Superman reboot. I mean, they have no idea what we want. They never listen to their fans, and this is getting a very good reception from fans and critics alike. And critics who made it no secret that they do not like Zack Snyder films have said it's actually quite good. So I mean, I don't know what else Warner Brothers needs. Someone just needs to grab them and choke them and be like, well, you listen to the people for once. But look, this isn't hyperbole here. This isn't recency bias or anything like that. I say, as far as team-up movies go, this is at least as good as the original Joss Whedon's Avengers. I really think it is as good, at least, as that. And it's worth your time, for sure. It's just a shame that Warner's run by such idiots, and they thought that the cuts that they made to this movie to make the 2017 version was actually superior to this. So, guys, that's what I thought about it. I had an incredible, incredible time with it. I'd like to watch it again. That's how much I enjoyed it. And just some of these things that just set up so many of these threads that we're probably never going to get actually kind of makes it frustrating because a lot of questions are left unanswered. It's not, I would say it's quite a cliffhanger, but just know that there are parts that you had where you're like in Batman v Superman, that didn't make any sense. You get some resolution here, but it's still, I want to know more, and we're probably never going to get it. So I saw after Warner Brothers has said, yeah, we're not continuing with that. And then the storyboards for Justice League 2 got leaked on the internet. Pretty sure that was a studio decision because that's their way of saying, oh, you're not ever going to see it, but here, you can have this. This is what you want before we give you Robert Pattinson's Batman. So, guys, if that's something that you're into, that's awesome. I'm not really interested in where it's going from there. But, you know, I wasn't interested in this, and it surprised me. And I've never had a problem admitting when I'm wrong on this channel, and I will continue to do so. If Robert Pattinson's Batman blows me away or something like that. But Justice League, guys, it's a big thumbs up from me. Absolutely check it out if you're a fan of these characters at all. I think you will see such a significant improvement from that 2017 version that you'll be like, how the hell did they put that garbage out back then? So, okay. Man, I'd really like to see more. But guys, did you watch Justice League? What did you think? Drop in the comments and let me know. And guys, if you want to hear more of this stuff, I would love to talk spoilers about it if you want me to. It just kind of depends. Like I said, this isn't a movie review channel, so I don't really do stuff like this very often unless it's a big event like I did one for Rise of Skywalker, things like that. So it just kind of depends on your feedback. If you want me to talk about spoilers, I could get really deep into some of these spoilers and some of the how it matches up with the comic books and stuff. I'd love to do that, guys. So drop in the comments, let me know what you thought, and I will talk to you there.